the Chi-Town experience on the flight. Let me go tune in to Keek on the mic. He gon' make sure we get our news and highlights. When you get on YouTube, you better hit the like.
A surprise name turned heads during Chicago Bears minicamp. Hey, what's going on, Bears fans? Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Keek on the Mic, the podcast all about the Chicago Bears. As always, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. So, Bears fans, the Chicago Bears have officially wrapped up their mandatory mini camp at Hallis Hall. That means they officially release players for the remainder of the summer. They will come back next month during the month of July to officially begin their training camp. We are yet another day closer to the start of the Chicago Bears football season. And overall, it seemed like a really good turnout. Guys seem like they're having a lot of fun. Ben Johnson continues to impress me among other Chicago Bears fans with his attention to detail. There's actually a part in yesterday's press conference prior to day 2 of Chicago Bears mandatory minicamp when they asked him about him kind of getting on Caleb Williams. And they're like, hey, was that part of the, play? He's like, nope, Caleb Williams was just late. He's Ben Johnson is proving that he is the perfect fit for Caleb Williams and to really help groom Caleb Williams and get him to the next level going into year 2 in the National Football League. So overall, so far, so good for Ben Johnson and the culture he is trying to instill here in Chicago. You even saw at the end of today's practice, he was allowing the offensive linemen to run routes and catch passes. And we all know that Ben Johnson has a history as the offensive coordinator of the Detroit Lions to allow some of his O-linemen to get involved in the action in terms of running routes and, allowing them to catch passes out of the backfield or, as a wide receiver. He did it with Noah Sewell when he was the OC of the Detroit Lions. So it wouldn't surprise me if you saw a guy like Darnell Wright line up as a wide receiver on one of those plays and leak out and, maybe get an opportunity to catch a couple of passes this season. I thought that was a cool little note that I wanted to bring up on today's episode of Keek on the Mic. But the most surprising thing is that Ben Johnson, after the final day of Chicago Bears mandatory minicamp, the media asked him which players really stood out to you. He sat there and said with a smile, he chose 2 players on the offensive side and 2 players on the defensive side. He said defensive end Dominique Robertson, linebacker Ruben Hippolyte, tight end Joel Wilson, and running back Kyle Monangai. And apparently, Kyle Monangai really turned heads during this 3-day Chicago Bears mandatory minicamp. And to me, from the clips that I have seen, is that he looked completely different and completely faster in his drills compared to what we saw in Chicago Bears rookie minicamp just a couple of weeks ago. He definitely showed a lot of flashes. He showed some versatility and work ethic, and has already made a very positive impact among the Chicago Bears coaches, which is a very positive thing because we've been talking a whole lot about maybe the possibility of Ryan Poles adding another running back, rather it's J.K. Dobbins or Nick Chubb. But obviously a positive thing for Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears if they wouldn't have to spend extra money. We talk about DeAndre Swift and just having that lack of experience behind DeAndre Swift. And I do personally believe that, once again, we've talked about it many different times right here on the podcast. I do believe that Ryan Poles is going to go into training camp with the running backs that he has currently on this roster. And if Kyle Monangai can continue to stack these good practices and make his presence known and just continues to get better, maybe he will transform himself to be the number 2 running back on this roster behind DeAndre Swift and just having that 1-2 combo with Monangai and Swift. So overall, I am very pleased to see Kyle Monangai is doing well. Obviously, he was a 7th round pick, probably has that chip on his shoulder. Obviously was pretty impressive at Rutgers during his college career. Really, really good pass blocker, really good runner and vision as well. I think he has all the tools necessary to be a key component on the Chicago Bears offense, but he just has to continue to stack these good practices. So huge shout out to Eric Bieniemy and the coaches to, developing these coaches the right way. And overall, it just seemed like a really good 3 days of work. So overall, Bears fans, how are you guys feeling about what you guys have either seen or heard after these 3 days of Chicago Bears mandatory minicamp? And what gets you most excited for this year's Chicago Bears team? Let me know down below in the comment section. But Bears fans, before I let you guys go on today's episode of the podcast, I do have a quick update in regard to the Trey Hendrickson saga over there with the Cincinnati Bengals. We all know what's going on. He is not going to play this season without a contract extension, which has led to a lot of trade rumors. And we have talked about the possibility of maybe Ryan Poles and the Bears trading for Trey Hendrickson. I know there's a lot of Bears fans, including myself, that have said that maybe the Bears could go out and make one big, huge swing to land a premier edge rusher like Trey Hendrickson. I know Bears fans are kind of 50-50 on it because at the same time, when you're looking at a guy like Trey Hendrickson, not only will you have to give up some draft capital, but you're also got to pay him that massive contract extension. And usually when you're going out to get a guy like Hendrickson, that type of player, you're usually saying, hey, he is the last piece to the puzzle to get over the hump and possibly win a Super Bowl. So Bears fans have been kind of 50-50 because a lot of Bears fans don't think we are one player away, which I can definitely agree with that sentiment that the Bears are probably still maybe 1 or 2 years away from possibly being a true contender for maybe competing for a Super Bowl. And that's even probably far-fetched because we haven't seen them actually play an NFL game yet. Even though they're good on paper, we still haven't seen them play an NFL game yet. But there was a huge update in regard to the price it would cost to actually land a player like Trey Hendrickson. And this was according to ESPN. They were doing some mock trades. And it seems that what the cost will be is a second-round pick and another late-round pick. So, for example, they did a mock trade for Trey Hendrickson going to the Buffalo Bills, and they said that the Bills would trade the Cincinnati Bengals a second-round pick and a later-round pick, like a 6th or 7th-round pick. So, Bears fans, when you put that in perspective, if you were general manager Ryan Poles, would you want the Bears to give up a second-round pick and another late-round pick, rather that's a 6th or 7th-round pick, to land Trey Hendrickson, and then you have to pay him that massive contract extension that he wants as well? So at the end of the day, we understand that he's a very good player, probably still has a lot left in the tank and can provide a major boost to the Chicago Bears defense. A lot of Bears fans consider this defense already a top 10, top 15 unit. If you add Trey Hendrickson, you're probably looking at a top 5, top 10 unit here in Chicago. So at the end of the day, would you be willing to give up a second and another later round draft pick and pay a contract extension to bring Trey Hendrickson to the Chicago Bears? Let me know down below in the comment section. At the end of the day, if Ryan Poles wants to make the move, I would definitely be supportive of it. But at the same time, you need to proceed with caution. You do not want to hurt the long-term future of the Chicago Bears. But other than that, Bears fans, make sure you guys continue to hit that subscribe button and the notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Make sure you follow me on all my social media platforms, and make sure you share this episode of Geek on the Mic with every single Bears fan that you know. But other than that, be back for our all new Bears podcast right here on Geek on the Mic. Thanks, guys, and as always, bear down.
You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't Geek on the Mic. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't Geek on the Mic. You can go and subscribe, cause I be on it right. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't Geek on